Welcome my dear students of class 8 and 8B. Today's topic is the Industrial Revolution and imperialism. And the previous slides which already I have taught you, the remaining part of this lesson I am going to teach the remaining part of the lesson. In the previous class we discussed about the role of France, the role of United States, the role of Belgium. Today's class is for more two countries who dedicated their contributions for the all-round development of the country. First one, Japan, and second one, Soviet Union. Japan, Soviet Union. Both the two countries contributed a lot in the field of industrial development and industrial growth. Now, Japan. What happened in Japan? Japan was unable to follow the footsteps of other countries of Europe. The wave of industrialization came later in Japan. What was the reason behind it? The first and foremost point is, Japan was, the entire system of industrialization was unacquainted to Japan. In order to get knowledge, a group of politicians was sent to America. They were sent to America to gain knowledge about industrial development. That's why in the year 1871, this very group of politicians reached Europe and to America also. And while staying there, they received knowledge of industrial growth and development from there and realized it in their own country. And as a result, there came a remarkable change in the entire system of industrial growth and development in Japan. The industrialization of Japan began around 1870. But the government in the meantime, the government built a railroad, the government built existing roads and inaugurated a good land and land revenue system in order to ensure the program of industrialization in Japan. Japan in fact joined industrial revolution with a striking force and striking success from the very, very beginning. The idea of industrialization was unacquainted in Japan, but the people of Japan had been eagerly waiting to witness a new era during when other European countries already had achieved success from industrial growth and development, from the program of industrial growth and development. As a result, the government of Japan decided to send a group of Japanese politicians to Europe and America. As a result, that very group, which was known as Yakura Mission, reached to Europe in the year 1871, and then in that very year, they also to America. And ultimately they gained knowledge, adequate knowledge, they utilized it in their practical field, and hence Japan became a great industrialized country throughout the world. Besides, another point to be mentioned, the result of this success done by Japan enabled Japan to quickly catch up with the European system of industrialization. As a result, the steel and textile industries also were set up in Japan, and the Bank of Japan also funded in order to strengthen the industrialized policy of Japanese government. Bank of Japan came forward, although the Bank of Japan was founded in the year 1882, but from the very beginning it started working in favor of Japanese government, and the bank used taxes to fund factories and industries. So this is about Japan. Now what is about Soviet Union? Soviet Union was a country of Russia, of Europe. Around mid-20th century, Soviet Union got herself involved in the process of agrarian development of agrarian society throughout the country. Soviet Union started industrialization policy, started adopting the policy of industrialization later, in the later part of the history of industrial development and imperialism. The enormous supply, not which part of Soviet Union helped her to be successful. The part of availability of natural resources like supply of coal, supply of oil, supply of natural gas helped her to be self-sufficient. As a result, Soviet Union by the mid-20th century witnessed the spread of industrial revolution in countries, but other countries of Asia followed the pathway of Soviet Union. These countries were China and our country, India. Both the two countries from Asia, China and India, also followed the footsteps of Soviet Union. The industrialized policy of Soviet Union encouraged other European countries, not only, but Asian countries also. For example, three countries of Asia, first Japan, and then China, and third India. Japan, out of these three, Japan had extraordinarily developed in realizing our aims and objectives during the industrialized era. But the other two countries, China and India, the process of industrialization became slower. Why? Because of foreign control. The control of England over China, the control of England over our country, India, the process has become very much slower. But in spite of all this, the two countries also developed a lot in the field of industrial growth and development by their students. The next point, this is a very important point, impact of industrialization. Impact of industrialization. Impact of industrialization and socio-economic changes. Socio-economic changes. The policy of industrialization, in the beginning I told you, helped not only European countries, but Asian countries also. Many Asian countries became self-sufficient in terms of the development, the growth of industrial development. A number of countries adopted their own techniques, own methods, own policies, which helped them to be self-sufficient. That impact had that impact reached far and wide, and it had a far-reaching impacts. Number one, socio-economic changes. There was a wide but uneven distribution of wealth among the people. It also caused a shift from people relying on farming in the countryside to working in factories and cities. New and distinctive skills also were adopted by workers as their relationship with whom? Relationship with their tasks changed. Instead of working with hand tools, they now operated motorized machines in the factories. Lots of men, women and children were included in the working class. Earlier, it was not possible. Most of the people had to work through the process of through manual process. And while working through manual process, the producing of goods became later. It was time consuming. As soon as the motor tools were introduced among the workers, as soon as the machines were discovered by the scientists, so instead of manual work, machines started working. Naturally, common people, naturally, working class people were appointed many in numbers because the industrialized nations, industrialists, moneylenders, rich people who invested money for the rapid growth and development in the field of industry and industrial development, they decided to appoint a number of working class people. As a result, children, women also are included in it. Children and women should not have been appointed, but they were offered the posts to be workers in their factories and industries. As a result, a number of women, children came forward to be a part of this, development through the industrialized process. Lots of men, women, and children as a result were included in it, in the working class. Although they were paid poor amount, they were less paid, yet they started thinking that what they were doing earlier was not good for them. What they were doing there, it was good for them, since they got themselves involved in the process of earning money. And as a result, who were benefited with it? We industrialized, the industrialists, the moneylenders, money investors, rich people who invested money to earn huge amount of money, they got themselves involved in it. Only by this way, the industrial development and industrial growth became possible with the expansion of trade and commerce. Because as soon as the industrialized nations started working, introduced machines, started recruiting number of working class people in their factories and industries, they kept it in their concept that industrialization led to an increase in the import of export business. That's why the idea of importing and exporting business came to their mind. They started importing raw material from different countries of Asia, Europe and Africa, and at the same time started supplying, means exporting their goods for other countries of Asia, Europe and Africa. The huge quantities of goods which were starting from machines, now in order to capture large market of Asia, Europe and Africa, they started supplying their productive goods, their finished products, and as a result, they now they, an expansion of overseas trade and commerce. It resulted in an expansion of trade and commerce throughout Asia, Europe, and Africa. In the beginning, I told you that most of the sea routes were discovered by the explorers. They reached here and there without caring of their lives and sacrificed their lives for the cause of discovering new sea routes in different parts of Asia, Europe, and Africa. As a result, moneylenders, rich people, ruling class people, governments of different countries of Asia, Europe and Africa, they started investing their money in order to establish trade relations with different countries of Asia, Europe and Africa, and in order to supply their finished products, finished goods in different parts of Asia, Europe and Africa, where the wave of industrialization did not reach. That's why, in order to make huge amount of money at the cost of these countries, the European countries and their industrialists invested